coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Table turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep feeling it.
We're back again, people. We're back again. We're back in the building. We are back in the building this morning. You know, usually I'll do a match review. I'll usually do it like via a reel. Yeah, but I just felt like today kind of needed a video. It felt like it needed a video. Which is a great segue. Guys, make sure you're liking and subscribing to the damn channel. Make sure if you haven't already, you're sharing this out with everybody. We're going to have a good chat. We're going to have a good little chat with you guys, to be honest. I know I'm talking to the screen and stuff like that, but I know you guys feel the same, Liverpool fans. I know you guys feel the same pain. So if you do, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, man. Make sure you drop me a DM, you know. My Twitter handle is G keeping it G. Make sure, you know, you like the video. Make sure you're, you know, just share this out so we can have a conversation. You know, I feel like this season is a season where we need more conversations. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, if I have to be the spark for that, then great. Let's just do that. Let's just do that, man. But yeah, most importantly, we are on the road to 150 subscribers. I know I keep saying it every single video, but until we get there, I will keep banging on at it. So now we're done with the formalities. Liverpool. What more can we say? What more can we do? You know, I don't know how many, you know, tactics boards I can do with Jerry and Roms where we're saying the same thing. You know, we have conversations like this all the time. You know, big up my guys. I don't know how many conversations we need to continue having in regards to Liverpool, Klopp, you know, the owners and all these kind of various different things. I don't know how many shows on Jamie's football chats. I don't know how many shows I can jump on saying the same thing without people calling me negative or, you know, saying, you know, you're not a real fan and stuff like that. You know, all the various different things. I don't know how many messages I can drop, you know, or comments I can put under a Klopp Zone post where someone says, oh, this guy is very, very negative. Oh, he doesn't really support the club and stuff like that. You're all seeing everything that myself, Jerry, Roms, Hussam, various other individuals have said. You're all seeing the things in, you know, right in front of your face. You know, and we're not the only ones, by the way. There are other Liverpool content creators out there who have obviously, you know, mentioned a lot of the issues that the club is currently going through now. They have also mentioned that it's just the list is very, very long. You guys know who you are, so big up your damn selves. But, you know, I know that last night was just a game, and again, hence the reason why I never wanted to do a reel straight after the game and, you know, emotions start running high and all these kind of various things. Like, I wanted to kind of take some time out and kind of think about what you're about to say, because, you know, you'll be very emotional straight after a game. You know, you just lost 3-1. So of course you would be, just like the manager would be as well. So, you know, we'll get onto his comments in a bit. But my thing is that, you know, ever since we won the Premier League, I've said it before, like, this club has not acted in the way and in the manner that I would expect a football club to act. Now, the results are results at the end of the day. Of course, that can be down to so many different things. It can be down to not spending enough. It could be down to the manager and his tactics. It could be down to the players and bad form. It could be down to injuries. It could be down to, you know, just sheer bad luck. So many different components to why you might lose a game, why you might win a game or draw a game. You know, that all of those things come into play. My issue is that, like I said, we haven't acted in a way that I would expect a big club to act, especially a club who have gone 30 years at that time without winning a Premier League trophy. You know, and I think it's 12, 13 years, I think, without winning the Champions League. So, if not longer. So, you know, I'm looking at, I'm looking at the, the whole thing in context, as opposed to just looking at last night's game. If we talk about last night's game, cool. As per usual, I think I can't even remember the record anymore. It's been so many. Liverpool went 1-0 down, then we went 2-0 down. The defending from the corners, absolutely atrocious. We were given warnings after the first corner, but it's like we'd never learned from the warnings. What I didn't like is the sheer fact that, look, listen, at the end of the day, if a team's got something that they're really, really good at, of course, that's going to come out in play. So if you're a team who's very good at possession, then of course, 9 times out of 10, if you're going to win the game, it's going to be via, the amount of possession that you're having. If you're a counter-attacking team, again, it's going to be 9 times out of 10. That's how you're going to win games. Brentford are really good at corners. I'm sure we had a conversation in training in regards to Brentford and the corners. Now, I'm not saying you can always stop them because, as I said, if you're a team who are good at something and that's kind of like your niche, then it's going to be quite difficult to be able to stop that. That's fine. No issues with that. We had 3 opportunities in the game to be able to even understand that. Even if you're working on that set pieces during training, and obviously Brentford are not there during your set piece training, so you might not be able to replicate that. But you've had 3 chances in the game. You had 3 chances in the game and you still could not sort yourselves out. This is supposed to be a team that everyone keeps telling me, we're big and we've got monsters at the back, and now we've got Cody Gakpo and Darwin Nunez and Van Dijk and Konate and Matip and, all of these big tall guys. We should be able to, combat that. We're going to be dangerous in the opposition box. Nah, we're a danger to ourselves. We're a danger to ourselves. Like, I'm sitting there and I'm watching, I'm watching these guys defend from these corners, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, it's like you're just a bunch of babies. Like, it was so easy for Brentford. It was really, really easy, like, for Brentford to just kind of do their thing. And again, like I said, I understand if that's Brentford's niche, then of course, more often than not, that's how they're going to try and score anyway, from set pieces, throw-ins and things like that. I get that. But you had 3 opportunities in the game. So it was like, okay, after the first one, I allow you, because I'm just like, yo, that's Brentford, man. Like, just remember for next time, they did the same thing again. They did the same thing again. They did the same thing again. And it's like, bro, are you guys ever going to, like, did you not even work on this in training? Like, it's the same thing happening again. And where are your leaders? Where are your players that I'm now expecting to be able to handle this situation? Nowhere to really be seen. Your Van Dijks, your Konates, the so-called leaders in the team. I'm not really seeing them potentially really doing anything, to kind of combat this, So again, that was that. Last goal from Mbuemo, bodied Konate, who tried to win a foul, which was very, very silly of him. Definitely wasn't a free kick. Like, anyone who says that was a free kick, yeah, I know you haven't played football. That wasn't a free kick. And, it was embarrassing from Konate, who also scored an own goal, so his performance was really crap. A lot of people have been saying, Konate is this. And then look, again, a game is one game. You cannot judge a person via one game. But the problem that we've got with Liverpool at this current moment in time is all of our defeats or draws or bad results that we're having this season, they're all similar. I wouldn't mind if the games that we're losing are different. Oh my goodness, because the team played like this and that's why this and that happened, and etc., etc. But it's not that. The team are losing and drawing or having bad performances the same way. Like, it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. So, of course, when something then becomes so repetitive, after a while, you are sitting there looking and thinking to yourself, brother, are you ever going to sort these kind of situations? Like, are we ever going to sort out the real key issues and stuff like that, which we'll get onto in a minute. But, as I said, Brentford, personally, I felt like they deserved to win the game. I felt like they were fantastic throughout the game. I felt like with their game plan, they really, really tried to stop us playing quickly. And I think that once they did that in terms of, in the first half anyway, with the intensity that they'll bring in, closing the passing lanes, we were then forced to kind of play this kind of slow, methodical kind of football. And one thing I will say is that I almost felt like the players wanted to almost play. Liverpool wanted to play in that kind of way. Like we were just trying to be really, really patient. Now, I don't mind you being patient. Of course, there's a lot of managers out there who play that kind of style of football where it's patient football, build up play, and then, you know, you strike. And that can work, of course, at times. But the problem is when you're up against a team with such level of intensity, that methodical football, the second that you're not really on it, they will hit you. They will just always hit you. Bang, they're in it, and they're a fit. And Brentford are a very, 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 very physical side. You know, very, very physical. And like I say, in that first half where they had the energy, in the second half, it kind of tailored a little bit. But in that first half where they've got the energy to do so, that's not what you want to be doing. You need to be popping that ball around quick. We saw what they did to Manchester City. Manchester City, we know, are a very patient, possession-based team. They will wait to strike, but you know when they do, 9 times out of 10, they will probably score. But the problem is when you come up against a physical midfield, an intense team who are willing to always snap at your heels, you cannot play that way, because the second it's a misplaced pass, or the second, you know, you're not making the runs beyond, and all these kind of little things that you're supposed to be doing against a team like this, the second you don't do that, like I say, they're on you. They are on you. Do you know what I mean? So playing that way, I feel like this way that Liverpool played last night, we've seen this too many times though. So it's not just last night. That's what was bugging me the most, was that, yes, Brentford were doing all of these things, but we're seeing it a lot as a theme. Against Leicester, we saw it. We saw it during that game. You know, we were super lucky to even come away with a win. We saw it against Leeds. We saw it against Forest. We saw it against Brighton. We saw it against Fulham. We saw it against Palace. We saw it against United. We saw it against Arsenal. We saw it against Napoli. Shall I go on? Like, guys, I've been saying the same thing for months and months and months. It's the same thing. We are watching the same game all the time. It's nothing different. That's what bugs me about this. Hence the reason why I get really annoyed with Jurgen Klopp. Hence the reason why I'm looking at Klopp and I'm saying to myself, yes, I'm not going to get into this too much. I'll save this for like a Jerry James show or something like that. Or, you know, This Is Football, whoever is out there. But this is why when we're talking about the owners, that's a separate conversation. I'm not going to get into that too tough, but that's a separate conversation. Yes, we know the owners need to dip in a bit more, give Klopp a bit more money so he can do blah, 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 blah. But the reality of the situation is that Klopp is someone who has real belief in his coaching abilities and his staff's coaching abilities to be able to coach these players to play the way that he needs them or wants them to play. This season, and really and truly, in my personal opinion, for last season as well, the players are not really playing in the way that he needs them to, if I'm being totally honest with you. You know, we kind of saw it during that injury hit season where we had all our centre backs out. I started to notice it there in terms of, yes, we had the excuse of, oh, but we had to put our midfielders in defence. But ideally, to me, I was always looking at that situation and thinking, yeah, that shouldn't mean that the team is dropping off in such quality that you should really be able to put other players in those positions. And we should still see the same kind of performance. But we weren't even seeing that. We were just seeing something completely abysmal. But then we had the excuse. You know what I mean? That was the excuse to fall back on. Oh, no, but we got injuries, though. We got injuries, man. We're you know what I mean? Last season, you know what I mean? I felt like the performances weren't really, like I say, like once you swapped in a few players here and there, the performances weren't really there in my personal opinion. But we were scraping, like we were literally like we were against Leicester the other day. We were having a lot of those kind of games where it was like, we just got through the game. It's like, oh, thank God. And people were lauding us for being able to get through these kind of games. Other than obviously the Champions League, we were kind of flawless. But in the Premier League, and that's where I judge you because it's over a long period of time. That's the kind of performances that we were putting in quite a lot. But again, when you're winning, no one's going to say anything. That there isn't a problem when you're winning games. Of course there isn't. Do you know what I mean? People are just going to, brush it under the carpet. It is what it is, blah, 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 blah. But I was always looking at it thinking, nah, something ain't right. And then this season now, again, we seem to have the excuses of, oh, but it's the injuries though. It's the injuries. Oh, no, but yeah, I mean, we've got players injured and that. So, you know, blah, blah, blah. For me, there is no excuses here. I don't feel like there's excuses for the level of performances that we are putting in, because you're seeing in these games, regardless of anything, no one can tell me they looked at that team sheet and said, yeah, we're going to lose 3-1 today. Even if you didn't want an Elliott to start or a Tsimikas to start, or I think that would have been the only two players that you might have had a question about starting. 2 players, really? Really? And that was enough for us to lose 3-1? You know, so again, these performances are too similar. Even when we win games, the performances are still the kind of the same. We just outscore teams. You know what I mean? And last night you saw it, you know, we can't constantly be saved by Darwin Nunez chaos. When Darwin Nunez isn't offering this chaos, it does look really, really bad. Like really, really bad. Like the level of performance that he puts in, it's like ill. Like this is what you're like when you're not even giving, like, you might not give me goals. I get that, fair enough, whatever. Even though I will say this, in regards to quite a few people talking about him being offside and stuff like that. What I will say to that is that I do think the team need to release the ball a lot quicker. Obviously that comes with the midfield, but I don't think just buying a midfielder would change that anyway, because Klopp doesn't want that. As I noted in my previous video that I done about the types of players that, you know, I would like to see at the football club, you notice I didn't mention, you know, Modric type players or Frankie de Jong, big up Enz, because I know Enz likes Frankie de Jong and stuff like that, but I would not even talk about those players. What's the point? That's not Klopp midfield. It would not work here. He would actually look shit in this midfield, factually, as we're seeing with the players that we've currently got. Elliott's, your Carvalho's, your Joneses, technical players, and I think Jamie Carragher alluded to this last night on Sky Sports, but technical players, but that doesn't work here. And this is the point I always try to make, is we need to start understanding the profile of player that this guy actually wants. Doesn't want those kind of guys. He might want a Jude, but I feel like outside of Jude, that's all he wants though. In the terms of, if he can't get Jude, like I say, I worry about who the hell you're trying to get next. I'm hearing Matheus Nunes, and, you know, I'll do a little video on that later on today. But, you know, I'm just, things are just not really making sense. And my issue is I have to look at Klopp and Pep and, you know, the rest of the coaching staff. I have to look at them and I have to say, what are you guys actually doing with this team? Like, what are you trying to do? Because the only game this season where I can probably say, yeah, that was kind of like a Liverpool performance, was against Manchester City. Even though we played kind of counter-attacking, but fair enough. It was as close to a Liverpool performance that I know under Klopp. Let's put it to you that way. You know, just without so much attacking kind of thing, because we were a little bit, you know what I mean? We were kind of a little bit, but not trying to get ourselves caught out and all these kind of things. But fair enough. I can get that. Like, everything else, every other game, I'm not seeing anything. Like, that was, like I said, that was the closest. And what was the difference in that game? It had nothing to do with quality, because we weren't quality. It was just intensity. It was just about intensity and right mentality. So is it the players? Is the message that you're trying to get across to the players? Are the players just not really hearing it? Are the players tired of this formation? Tired of this tactic? Tired of this style? They've been doing it, for most of them, and been doing it for 5+ years. You know, eventually you do get bored of hearing the same thing. Eventually you do get tired, especially, and the reason why I say players will get bored of it is once other teams, which we, you know, Carlo Ancelotti has alluded to in last year's Champions League final, once other teams, and Alisson, by the way, sorry, once other teams kind of suss what you're about and they're able to nullify that, you start getting annoyed when you're continuously trying to do something and you're like, bro, every time I try to run that way, like, these guys keep stopping me. I don't really get it. Or every time I'm trying to, you know, overlap and do this, these guys keep stopping me. Or every time I'm trying to do that, they keep stopping me. And it's happening every single game. Like, am I doing something wrong? But then I've got the manager just telling me, no, man, just keep doing it. Keep doing it. What do you mean keep fucking doing it, mate? Like, why am I going to keep doing something and this guy keeps stopping me? I'm just telling you to keep doing it. Do you understand where the conversation might potentially go? That's just one way of looking at it. Do you know what I mean? That's just me being very simplistic about the situation. You know, it might not even be that. But whatever it is, the for me, it's the players that we have, the formation that we're playing, it doesn't match up at all anyway. You know, Pep and Klopp, it's like they don't know what to do and they're stuck. They are genuinely stuck. They have one set of players. They've got one set of like technical players, and they've got more technical players than they do industrial players now. But they're still trying to play industrial football. So it's like, it's almost like they've said, we'll compromise and kind of go in the middle. You need to stop the compromising. You need to go one way or the other. I don't care which way you go, but just go one way or the other. Hence the reason why you're looking at the midfielders that we're being linked with. They're all kind of different. Hardly any of them are like the exact same as the previous one. Enzo's not like Jude. But then Jude is not like Moises Caicedo. Caicedo is not like Enzo. Jude isn't like Amrabat. Amrabat isn't like Enzo. Amrabat isn't a Caicedo. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yunus Musa, like, these guys are not the same kind of player. They're all like literally different players. And I get it because you've got 3 spots to kind of fill in the team. But that's why it's always like, which player are we actually in for? What player do we actually need? In fact, what does Klopp actually want? That's the real one. We think we need people keep talking about, we need a box to box. We need a guy who can get goals. No, we don't. Liverpool have never ever had a midfielder under Klopp who scores goals. So let's dispel that myth. Let's get that out of our heads. Let's get that dream out of our heads. Oh, we need someone. No, we don't. Because we've never had one. Klopp doesn't know what it's like to have a goal-scoring midfielder. He doesn't want a goal-scoring midfielder. He's exhibited that throughout his time here. So let's get rid of that notion that we need someone who comes in to score goals. We don't need that. Jamie Carragher again alluded to it on Sky Sports last night in regards to the type of midfielder he wants to see. Almost like a Gini type of midfielder who might be equally as important as getting a Jude. And it's almost like he was saying the same things that I've been trying to say in terms of, yeah, Jude's great, but we kind of need, do you know what I mean? Because Jude's going to cost a lot of money. And we've been told recently about this whole money situation. So again, things just don't add up. I'll be totally honest with you. Obviously, January just kicked off. So we don't know what the hell is going to happen. We don't know how things are going to pan out and etc. etc. So of course, there is that little bit of like, maybe in the, things might turn around in the next couple of days. Liverpool might do something crazy in the January transfer window. We don't know, blah, blah, blah. The problem that we're getting now is because you've got a manager who is, notably coming out and he's saying certain things and, it's the trust now is starting to, waver a little bit when it comes to Klopp. And I keep saying this, like, as much as Klopp is the Messiah to some people, this guy's not immune from criticism. And he's making a lot of mistakes with his backroom staff, whether it be in recruitment, whether it be in the team, whether it be in, team selection. You've got Naby Keita there. You refuse to play him, coming up with all these stories as to why he isn't playing and, X, Y, and Z. But then you play Elliott, your substitution sometimes in games is confusing. What you're trying to do with Elliott, a right winger, put him in centre mid. Curtis Jones, a left winger, you put him centre mid. Sometimes on the left, Carvalho is a number 10. Why did you sign him? Because we don't even play with that position. Like, nothing is making sense with Klopp at the moment. But this is the guy who's making these decisions, though. So that's why I say FSG, that's a different conversation. That's a very, very different conversation. I get that conversation. And that's a conversation that needs to be had. But we're not looking at the guy who's actually making some of these key decisions. The guy who's picking the team every single match day. Unless someone's going to turn around and we find out, yeah, it wasn't even Klopp picking the team, It was Pep Yinders, man. He was picking the team all this time. Big up Cav. I know Cav mentioned it on Grizz's show last night in regards to, maybe, Klopp's kind of taking a back seat and he's kind of just looking at it. And sometimes I do think that because I'm just looking at him and, again, it is facial expressions. The team is losing. Cameras might just catch you slipping at, every now and again. So, you take that with a pinch of salt. But, we're looking at the situation, and ultimately, at the end of the day, it is a situation whereby I'm looking at the manager and it's almost like it's so, I don't know, it's a bit surreal. Like, you're smiling during defeats, and maybe that's just how you are just as an individual. Like, you know, sometimes I laugh in nervous moments. So, you know, it's one of those kind of things. Like, I get it, but you know, it's the touchline. You know, you don't look like you're connected. That's probably the best way. You don't look like you're connected with the team at the moment. That's what worries me. Again, these are just little things that you might pick up by watching Jurgen Klopp on the touchline. You know, during games kind of thing, but it just doesn't look like you're connected with the team, and it's vice versa. The team don't look like they're connected with you. This don't look like a Liverpool team, as, you know, Jamie Carragher mentioned last night. It just doesn't. It just looks like a team made up of individuals who we've had, and you've tried to put everyone together, and you're hoping that Salah or Van Dijk or Alisson or, you know, Thiago will just save the day in some way, shape or form, whether it be a tackle, a block, a save, a goal, an assist, like Trent as well, Robbo. You know, you're just praying that these guys, again, like I keep saying, is individual quality is what will win us games, not because we play good football. We play awful football. We're one of the easiest teams to play against. We concede chances every single game, which does not bode well for anything trying to move forward. So, you know, there's a lot to get through over the next well, throughout this whole January, to be honest, there's a lot to get through. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of things that Liverpool are going to need to, you know, kind of sort out in regards to the team, you know, in regards to, you know, Klopp, and, you know, just trying to find a way, that a system that potentially just works for the players that you have. Klopp needs to be a lot more flexible. Again, it's Klopp. He's never going to change his ways. You know, we're going through an injury crisis, and, you know, loss of form, poor performances or whatever. This guy, you know, I think he changed tactic for like a game or something like that. As soon as certain people came back into the team, this guy just reverted back to type. He just rinse and repeat and just went straight back to 4-3-3. And I was just like, brother, like, allow it. Like, just get rid of that. I don't want to see these formations anymore, because it's not doing anything. It's done now. That's fine. You had a way that worked. Guess what? You've now got new players in certain areas. Different positions have been changed around. You don't have Mane. You don't have a Firmino. You don't have that trio anymore, kind of thing. Yeah, obviously Firmino and Salah are still there, but you ain't got that trio that really worked for you for 5-6 years. That's not there anymore. You've now got new players. You've now got a Darwin Nunez who is very unorthodox, can't finish to save his life, but, you know, can get you the chances to give you to the guys who can. You've got a Diaz, again, another player, not really good at finishing, but he's a good dribbler, get you in the box kind of thing, so he can maybe pattern something on that side. You've got a Diogo Jota, you know, someone who, yeah, he's a bit of a mystery, that one, to be honest with you. You know, he can finish, but, you know, I'm not sure on how consistent that could potentially be. But he's one of those kind of players, you know, so you've got kind of a different kind of makeup. That's fine. A midfield, you don't have the industrial midfield that you used to have. So guess what? You need to play a different way, bro. You cannot keep playing the same football. It's just insanity right now. It's not making any sense. Like, you're just doing the same things over and over and over and over and over again. I don't understand. And then it's like he's baffled at why the result isn't changing. I understand also you don't want to come out in the media and start slamming players. I get that. And I ain't asking for you to do that. What I am saying is for you to be able to recognize that there is an issue within the team. And to be honest, I'll keep it a buck. If you got to come out and say maybe it's you and what you're trying to do, then fair enough. But just be honest, bro. Just be honest about the situation, because at the moment, whether he's just saying certain things for the sake of saying it so that people get off his back and blah, 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 regardless, we can only go on what you say. We are not mind readers, so we do not know. There's too many ITKs, there's too many top reds, there's too many clowns out there who think they're mind readers. You don't know what he's thinking. You do not know what is going on behind closed doors. You can only go on what someone says. If I called you a cunt right now, you can't read my mind and think, yeah, maybe he meant cunt in a different fashion. How do you know? I've just called you a cunt. That's it. you're gonna have to take that as face value and the tone of my voice and, you know, the context of the situation. That's exactly what we've got to do here with Jurgen Klopp. We've got to look at what he's saying, the context of what he's saying, how he's saying it, why he's saying it, what was he asked prior in order for him to say it, all of these kind of things. And ultimately, you've got to take these things at face value. So when people say, yeah, man, no, you take it at face value, bro. Otherwise, shut up. Stop talking. Don't talk anymore. That would be the next best thing, because otherwise, you know, we all interpret things completely differently. Whatever, you know, someone might say something, I might interpret it as him joking around, but someone else might think, nah, man, he's trying to take the piss. We don't know, but at the end of the day, we're not mind readers. So we need to stop pretending that we are. Just take what he's saying as face value. It's that simple. So whatever he said, whether that be we ain't got no money, whether that be, you know, we got to do a sell to buy model, whether that be, you know, it's his philosophy, as he's mentioned, you know, in the interview that he did, like that, it's his philosophy. That's it. So it's on him now. That's why I keep looking at him. That's why I'm not focusing on the board so much, because you need to look at Jurgen Klopp. It's him picking the team. It's him who's playing this, who wants to play this way, clearly with Pep Yinders as well, the influence of Pep Yinders, but it's them too. So those two need to be taking as much blame as the players. And then that's where we need to have a conversation. Are these the right guys to move us forward? We need to get out of this notion that people have in their brain is, oh, but who else is out there? That's the irrelevant part of the conversation. We need to understand, is this even the person to take you forward anyway? Once you've established your answer there, then you can start looking at whoever else is out there. Then you can start thinking about this, that, and the third, about maybe we need to go in this direction, that direction, blah, 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 whatever it may be. I'm not trying to start a campaign, people. I'm not trying to do hashtag Klopp out, and I'm not doing any of that kind of stuff. You know, one is, I don't think it's reached that level of a stage yet. And two, it's not needed, because it creates a level of toxicity. It creates a level of that within the club, you know, and then you become Arsenal under Arsene Wenger, you know, where it was ugly. It was super toxic over there, and they were kind of embarrassing themselves in the way that they were behaving. But in saying that, they felt very strongly, which is why I kind of agreed with some of the things that they were saying. I just felt like the way that they were going about it just didn't make any sense, because it doesn't help the team or the club or the manager in this kind of situation. But when you feel so strongly about something, you know, about your manager, about how the team is playing and things like that, you know, it's going to come out in so many different ways, you know, kind of thing. And that was the way that they chose for it to come out. But, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I don't want it to end up that way for Klopp, because I like the guy. But, you know, at the moment, I'm just not seeing anything. There's nothing for me to really cling on to anymore. And I've been seeing, and the pattern's been there for a little while. So my mind is sitting there and it's thinking, it's not necessarily that I'm looking for a new manager, so to speak. It's just answering that first question, which people are not being honest about with themselves, is, do you think that this person can take you forward? Do you think that just because he gets money, he's all of a sudden just going to go bam, 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 Jude, I want Modric, I want Toni Kroos, I want Valverde, I want, you know, Camavinga, I want Tchouaméni. Do you think that that's going to happen? Like, you really think Klopp's just sitting there and that is the, you know, he's going to get Mbappe too, you know, boom, that's the next deal. Like, is that what's going to happen? I don't know. Again, I'm not a mind reader. I don't know. For all we know, that could happen. And Klopp could completely just change everything. And then we're sitting there thinking, oh, Raz, say no more. Like, when he's got money, yeah, he likes to do this, that, and the third. But we're looking at when he does have the little money that he does have. Liverpool have spent about 100 million on attackers in the last 2 windows. Just let me rewind that in case you missed that. Liverpool have spent about 100 million on attackers in the last 2 windows. Let me rewind that again for a third time for you. Liverpool have spent about 100 million on attackers in the last 2 windows. But we have no new midfielder. Haven't signed one since, Arthur Melo, asterisk, Thiago. But have spent 100 million in the last 2 windows on attackers. Please make it make sense. Hence the reason why I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, maybe Klopp doesn't look at it the same way we do. Maybe Klopp isn't thinking he has this much of an issue in the midfield like we think we do. If that's the case, then yeah, we're all kind of fucked. Do you know what I mean? Then we're really fucked. You know, then it really is like, right, alright, cool. Say no more. Like, what more can I say and what more can I do now? Like, if you don't think we got a problem, if you think, you know, he's probably looking at it thinking, I got bare midfielders. Like, why is everyone stressing for? I got bare midfielders, man. Everyone's fit. Watch how this midfield's going to do. Rare. That's on you now, bro. That is now on you. There's not much more I can say. I can't keep coming out here and saying, need to do this, need to do that, X, Y, and Z. If you don't think we need to do X, Y, and Z, then cool. You're the manager. It's your livelihood on the line right here. Liverpool keep fucking up. It's you I want out of the club. Do you get what I mean? And it's you who's going to leave the club. I'm still going to be here supporting the football club. So, yeah. It's like I say, it's just going to be interesting times. Look, at the end of the day, we're only in January. So the season has been so tight in terms of, you know, what could potentially happen. So all we know, boom. This one defeat isn't going to, in my opinion, derail us in this top 4 battle, so to speak. It's when we continue these kind of performances between now and maybe like a March and April. If you continue having these kind of games, like if you have another like 4 of these games, like this month is going to be very, very testing. These 6 fixtures and stuff like that, it's going to be really, really crazy. Because, you know, we've got tough games. I think we've got Newcastle, Everton, Brighton. You know, Brighton's our next game and it's away. You know, lose that to Brighton. Fucking hell. Now it's really a race. You know, and now we're starting to fall behind in that race for the top 4. You know, especially if Tottenham then get a win. You know, there's so many different components, but the season's still long. So let's wait and see. January hasn't finished. Let's wait and see. But, like I said, all season, what we're seeing now, we're going to continue seeing it. From Klopp, mainly. Just watch in the context of everything, just watch what he's doing. Don't worry about when we win games and think, oh yeah, Liverpool, right. Forget all of that. Watch the performances properly. Just watch the performance. Watch Klopp. Listen to Klopp. Don't read what he's saying. Big up Savage, because he mentioned that yesterday on Jamie's show. A lot of people do. They read it, but they're not listening to the actual conference. Because you need to understand the context in what he's actually saying. And then you'll be able to, you know, form your own opinions. But look, I think I've gone on long enough. I think I've gone on long enough at the end of the day, you know. Like I said, this is why I didn't want to speak, you know, straight after the game, because I felt like I would have been a lot more, you know, a lot more emotional about it, kind of thing. I was a bit emotional here, to be fair, but you know, I just didn't want to go straight after the game, kind of thing. I wanted to take some time out and just kind of think, because there's a lot to kind of go on. You know, so there is a lot to kind of speak about. There is a lot to kind of get through, and you know, all these kind of various different things, but. You know, over the next couple days and stuff like that, you know, various things are going to come out. We're going to be having more of these kind of conversations. I will potentially go, if anything big kind of happens, I will potentially go live on YouTube. So yeah, guys, just make sure you watch out for that. Please, thank you for watching my video today. Make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you catch him on the Jerry James show. I believe he might be doing a show today, but if not, just make sure you got his notifications on. Jamie Phillips Football Chats. Catch me on there. This is football. I think I'm going to be everywhere today, you know, potentially today. So, you know, watch out for that. And make sure you're subscribing to all of the Liverpool content creators out there. You know, they're a bunch of great guys anyway. Difference of opinion doesn't really matter. We're all a community at the end of the day. So make sure you are subscribing. I'm G and I'm out.